coverage continues right here on the Weather Channel, Hurricane Central.
This wall that was built over a century ago on Galveston Island is still here. But will it stand up to Hurricane Rita? The answer is next in a live report.
And I'm Jeff Morrow in Surfside Beach, and the surf definitely kicking up today. A few brave surfers actually tried to go out and ride it. We'll talk about that and how many people are left in this area in a live report. Across southeast Texas and parts of Louisiana, more than 1 million people are evacuating. Traffic continues to creep along Interstate 45 as well as many other roads in the region.
And meanwhile, this massive hurricane continues its collision course towards the Gulf Coast. Hello and welcome to Hurricane Central and our extended coverage of Hurricane Rita. I'm Jennifer Lopez.
And I'm Carl Parker. We're keeping you updated on the latest with Rita, a hurricane that is slightly weaker but still very powerful and very dangerous. Here's what we know now.
And right now the wind's at 145 miles an hour, pressure at 913. And Carl, you remember last night at this time it was below 900. So it's weakened somewhat, but it is still an enormous and just a very strong hurricane, and it's coming closer to the coast.
It is a very large storm. The impacts will be felt well ahead of the center, well away from the center. We do think it may move in a bit more slowly relative to what we showed you yesterday. Now it's looking like it's going to be Saturday when the storm comes in anywhere from southwest Louisiana into the upper Texas coast, and it will be moving up very slowly then through Texas. The impacts inland could be very heavy rain for a lot of folks as the storm may even stall out.
And our team of meteorologists are dispatched along the coast tonight.
Joining us live is Jeff Morrow in Surfside Beach, and we'll start with Stephanie Abrams in Galveston, Texas. And Stephanie, on a hot day like today, Seawall Boulevard is normally packed with people, but many of them are on 45 tonight.
Absolutely. They're stuck on 45. A lot of people are, and as you mentioned, Seawall Boulevard is basically deserted. So that's good news, though. I'm glad to hear that people are out of town. Now, let's talk about the actual seawall. This was built in 1900, built 17 feet high after the Galveston hurricane of 1900. And I spoke to an engineer at the Army Corps of Engineers, and he says the wall has settled to about 15 feet. Now, where we were last night, the entire wall was exposed, and there were rocks at the bottom. Where we are now, you can see the sand has built up. So that's why I do look tall next to this 15-foot wall. Let's show you where the Gulf of Mexico is relative to the wall. And just past the wall is Seawall Boulevard, the road that Carl was talking about. Look at this, the Gulf of Mexico continuing to kick up. And I have to admit, within the past hour, we've seen the waves getting taller and breaking farther out. And that means Hurricane Rita is approaching. With that said, we've seen the harbors. Those have been cleared out. We've seen all of the shrimping boats tied to their moorings. Of course, we have drilling platforms off the coast here. Those have been evacuated, and we anticipate that those will be affected as this hurricane nears the coast. Now, the drilling platforms have been evacuated, and the mayor says 90% of Galveston has been evacuated, and they're already preparing for after the hurricane.
And I have requested 1,500 National Guardsmen and at least 2 search and rescue units to be sent to Galveston Island immediately following the storm.
And so the good news is that they're getting people out, and they're also preparing for after the storm, so that's great news. All right, let's head south of here to Surfside Beach. That's where my colleague Jeff Morrow is located. And Jeff, I have to admit, I think the ocean has kicked up a little more here within the past hour or so. What do you think about it down there?
Yeah, the tide definitely coming in here, so we're seeing a lot more ocean washing up higher and higher on the beach, and that's going to continue until high tide at about 11 o'clock local time here tonight. But you're right, Stephanie, surf definitely kicking up. Folks, I want to show you the approach of the hurricane. Let's pan off here now. Going to have the cameraman widen out. See those white clouds there above the Gulf? We're going to pan over here. That is the leading edge of Rita. That's it, folks. No more clear skies here. Some of the leading edge, and it won't be too long after that we'll start to get the rain bands coming in, and so these clouds tinting a little white, little pink as the sun is setting now. But just wanted to show you that we are now starting to see some of the outer cloud bands, the cirrus bands, with Rita. A little bit of an ominous sign here. All right, let's show you some pictures that were shot just a little bit earlier. Again, Stephanie was mentioning that surf really coming up, and you can see how it came right on up underneath a lot of these houses and even out into the street in some cases. And that's going to be the main problem here over the next 24 hours. Now, earlier we talked with Coast Guard Chief Petty Officer Dan McDonald, and he talked a little bit about the surf and how it affected maybe some of the surfers around this area.
This is an unusual high surf for this area, absolutely. If the police weren't keeping people off the Surfside Beach, there'd be a large number of surfers here, I'm sure.
And I should say that was Executive Petty Officer Dan McDonald. So, okay, guys, the hurricane, as you just saw, is starting to approach. It's only a matter of time now as to exactly where it comes in. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Jeff. And again, sitting there and continuing to watch the people move out as they're waiting right now for Hurricane Rita to get close.
And it's always so calm before storms come in.
And it looks beautiful out there, but it's hot today.
Yeah, it's been very hot today. Well, coming up, we continue our live coverage of Hurricane Rita, and we'll have much more, including expert analysis from Dr. Greg Forbes about severe weather that has been occurring in the Midwest.
All right, stay with us. We'll have more on the weather around the country.